Welcome in here on a Thursday, 3304 Daily, February 24th. Dan Steinbach, Ryan Wilkes feeling a little bit under the weather today. So I'm joined by Will Lachlan today. We'll see if Wyatt Krieger makes his way onto the show today as well. So, just the two of us, but hey, we've got a lot of stuff to talk about. And if you ever want to chime in with your thoughts as well, text the number at 540-216-2231 or also hit us up in that YouTube live chat. All right. Will, how you doing today, man?
I'm doing pretty well. Got gonna go to the VT women's game tonight against Miami. Do some coverage for 3304 Sports, so that's exciting. And yeah, that's this rest. After this is the rest of my plan for the day. Got one class in there, and then I'm gonna head straight to the castle.
Oh, there you go. I'm going to be working that game. I'm going to be down at my job at New River Radio, going to be producing. So very exciting times. End of their season, basically. I mean, this is their second to last game of the regular season. Then they've got a big game on Sunday. We're going to talk about that a little bit later in the show, probably around 2 o'clock. So be sure to stay tuned in for that. Will's got all the deets for you on women's basketball. All right, we got a men's basketball game to talk about from last night as well. A game that I don't know how well we're going to be able to talk about it, considering I was able to listen to it. I didn't really see what was going on. You were telling me pre-show. You didn't catch a lot of it. So we've got that to open up the show. I mean, basically, I think the storyline there is just, okay, they needed to win that game, and they escaped. I mean, the final score probably wasn't indicative of how close that game was. It just seemed like they let Georgia Tech back in really late, but they had a handle on it the whole way down. So we'll get into that a little bit. And then I think I'm excited for this one. So the Detroit Pistons are bringing back kind of jersey for next season, bringing back an alternate. And I think this is a good topic. What are some of your favorite jerseys in sports? Because I am very excited about this move that the Pistons are making. We've got a little bit of an MLB lockout update. And then, of course, we've got what you're watching to end the show on. So let's start out with Tech men's basketball from last night over Georgia Tech. Final score of 62-58 on the road. Now, this wasn't the same game as the game they played earlier in the year. And I really appreciated what Mike Young said, basically right out of the gate in his post-game presser, or at least his post-game sideline interview, basically saying, fire the zone offense coach. And again, I did not see what they were playing, but from what I could tell, the offensive game plan going in, it kind of got a wrench thrown in it because Georgia Tech was not playing as much zone as they had in the first game. And, you see it in the box score, Justin Mutz didn't have as big a role as he did in that first game against Georgia Tech, where he was a really big distributor. He was the leading assist guy. Last night was not that case. A very poor shooting night from Tech. I mean, I was surprised hearing about the final score. I said yesterday at the end of our show, I said, if this game, hits the over, if this is a shootout, Virginia Tech's going to win because Georgia Tech can't keep up. And they had a very, very bad shooting night, and they still were able to come away with a win, which is, massively important. You got three guys all tied for the lead there with 12 points apiece. Darius Maddox off the bench. When he came in, I think he had like a 10-point run all by himself. So that spark that he was able to provide definitely helps them win that game. I mean, without him and his performance, they walk out of there with a loss and basically a knife in their season for good. Now they still have a little bit of hope. They've got Miami coming up this weekend. And I mean, that's really what it comes down to. We've been talking about it for so long now with this team, and are just such an outside shot at a tournament berth. And that Miami game right now, it's got quad one potential. Miami's a top 75 team on the road. So there's your quad one right there. There's your quad one qualifications. You have to win that game. If you lose that game and you win the other two, great. You're looking at a 19-12 record. You win a couple games in the ACC tournament. None of them quad one. You're showing up with 20-something wins, 13 or so losses, and you don't have a quad one win on your schedule. That's not going to fly. So that's a must win. These other games have been must win for the sheer sake of survivability, but that game against Miami, its importance, it might be the most important game of the season. And it feels like every single game for, I don't know, the last month has been the most important game of the season. But man, this stretch, this these last 3 games, I think you got to win them all if you want to get in the tournament. But that Miami game, it just becomes that much more important with the fact that you don't have a quad one win already, and you're staring right in the face of picking your first one up. You got to build the tournament resume somehow, and that's how you got to get it done. Now, you can't win games with this box score. Again, you can't win games shooting less than 40% from the field and 25% from three. You can't do that. They shot poorly against UNC, and they shot poorly against Georgia Tech. They come away with a win in one of those 2 games. You're not going to be able to do that against Miami. I don't think you can pull that off again. It's insane how they got it done. DeVoe did not go off as well as he did. He didn't drop 30 like last time. He did have 18. Usher was in the game for more, but he only put up a quiet 11. Again, that's what Georgia Tech is. It's those 2 guys, and it's everybody else not being able to, pick up the slack. But something about this team has to. I don't know what you can point to. I think in these last couple games, your wings have been shooting a little bit poorer. Hunter Couture has not been great from three. I mean, 1 from 9 last night. That's something that we don't expect from him, and this team expects him to make more, be more efficient. Naheem Aline, 3 of 7 from 3 last night, put up 12. I mean, probably one of his better stat lines in last few weeks, maybe, but still not what we think of when we think of him. Aluma had a poor shooting night from the field, only 4 of 12, only 12 points. Storm Murphy, 0 for 3 from 3. So just across the board, you can point to a bad offensive night. I mean, save for Darius Maddox off the bench. And I mean, you just can't have that again. You got to have a stronger offensive game plan, and you've just got to make shots. You just have to. It's got to be desperation time for this team. Against Miami, I mean, that's the game you've all got to watch. You got to watch it, and you got to see what they do. You got to see how they respond. You got to see how they bounce back, and hopefully pick up a win that allows them to say, yeah, we do belong in the NCAA tournament. We do belong in March Madness. It's just the one thing that I think is really holding them back. Right now, they are. Joe Lunardi calls them under consideration, which basically means they're in 9th place in an 8-team race. The first 4 out and the next 4 out, they're 9th. They're right there. I don't know what changed from last night because the commentator, I think his name is Anish Shroff. I think that's his name. I might have mixed up his name there. But he said that after that win, Lunardi put him on the next 4 out, and something changed because Lunardi just tweeted out that they're no longer in that consideration. But you pick up a quad 1 win, you put yourself in that mix. Obviously, a UNC win helps you out more. But at this point, it comes down to that Miami win and your performance in the ACC tournament. I was listening to our man Evan Hughes on the tip-off show last night, and he was saying how he thinks them getting to the semifinals, a win against Miami, them getting to the semifinals in the ACC tournament, you feel like they're in there. Honestly, I think I'm still a little bullish on that just because I don't think anyone views the ACC that favorably. We were talking about it. I don't think the ACC is good. The ACC is not good. Like, let's just full stop there. Duke is not a 1 seed. They're barely a 2. In my opinion, they might be a 3. And everyone else is a 9 or lower. Like, that's just how the ACC is this season. So I'm not thinking that the committee is gonna say, oh yeah, we'll put in like 6 or 7 teams, but you're all gonna be playing in Dayton or you're all gonna be on the 9 or 10 line. I don't think they're gonna do that. I think you're gonna end up with like 4 or 5. You're gonna have a couple on the 9, 1 on the 10, and then if you're lucky, you might see 2 teams in Dayton. And Tech probably they're on the back end of that. Like, they're 5th or 6th in the conference right now in terms of odds of making it for me. So, where they are right now, they have to show us. They got to show something against Miami. They have to be that team that went on that 6-game run where they were shooting over 50% and shooting over 50% from 3. Do I think that's what needs to happen? No, I think they can win the game a multitude of ways, but they just need to win the game. I really don't know how many more times I can rephrase that. So yeah, last night got close at the end. They came out of the first half playing a little sloppy. I was able to pick up on that from the broadcast, but I don't know, man. It's just I really don't know what else to take away from that game other than they shot poorly. They're gonna have to shoot better, and they have to win this game coming up against Miami.
I mean, it was an ugly win for sure. But obviously a necessary one. It's like you said, it's been that way for over a month now. I think the at least just from because I watched the last 10 minutes of the game. And it is, I think you brought up an interesting point about how Mutz has been like Virginia Tech's, I guess, zone buster without like a better phrase to put on it. Did it against Syracuse, had like a triple double in that game. Did it against Georgia Tech earlier in the season. So you're absolutely right. I mean, Justin Mutz was, and I think that's what like Georgia Tech they countered by not playing their typical defensive zone style because they didn't want to get beat in that same way that that they suffered from last time, and also that Syracuse suffered from in Castle Coliseum. So I think that's why they're neutralized. But I mean, it's good that they won because when I look at when I'm not watching a full game, just like bits and pieces of it, like I was last night. You really the three statistical areas I look for in box score are free throw percentage, turnovers, and offensive rebounds. Who's dominating those statistics? And Virginia Tech dominated the offensive rebounds, 15-7. So that's massive. Free throw was basically even. Georgia Tech shot 72.7%. Virginia Tech shot 71.4%. So barely a difference there. And then the turnovers, Virginia Tech had 2 more than Georgia Tech. So it was basically evenly split. And combine that with the fact that Virginia Tech shot worse from the field in all 3 or worse efficiency-wise in all 3 areas. They were on the road, and they were down, at halftime to an inferior team. But they ended up pulling it together because, like you said, the 10-point stretch from Darius Maddox, that was absolutely, I think, what got them the game. And, I've been a big proponent of really Darius Maddox since I first watched him in like the first couple games of the season. I think he's honestly one of the better players on this team. And that's certainly not, it's really not like disrespect to anyone else on the team. It's really just I think that he's that good. Like Darius Maddox is a really, really key piece. Sophomore this year is going to be a junior next year. Assuming he doesn't transfer, he'll be a big part of the team next year in return. But yeah, I mean, for Hunter Couture, 1 for 9 from 3 turnovers and 3 fouls. So I mean, just definitely one of his poorer performances of the season. Like you said, Aluma did have a double-double, but still relatively inefficient. Did get to the line a good deal. And he also grabbed 3 of those offensive rebounds, which I thought were big. Sean Padula also had 3 offensive rebounds, and he's a point guard. He's backup point guard for the team. So that was massive too. Interesting enough, he had 4 rebounds and 3 of them were offensive rebounds. So that's an interesting nugget. But like you said, for Virginia Tech, yeah, the next game is up against Miami. Road game. I mean, this is it. Like you've put yourself in position. You've gone game by game. You've started off, what was it, 2-7 in ACC play, which seemed insurmountable, but it's not. You were able to climb yourself out of the hole by going. I can only imagine the process was just like game by game. We got to win this game. You can't when you have to overcome that kind of a hole. You can't just go think of it like, all right, we gotta end if we're 2-7 now. We gotta end like to 11 and like 8 for the remainder. Now you gotta think, all right, we're gonna get to 3-7 today. Tomorrow, the next game we're gonna get 4-7. Is just game by game, and that's how Virginia Tech's been able to climb out of this hole. And that's like that mentality has to remain now. Now the fact that they are above water at 17-11 overall, 9-8 in conference, you can't change that mentality now. You still have to take it game by game mentality, and all the chips are on the table for this game against Miami because, like you said, it could be easily like the best resume building win just because it'd be a quad 1 win on the road against a team who Miami's higher in the standings than Virginia Tech, and they have a better chance at the tournament odds than Virginia Tech does. So it's the massive one. But I mean, I think the biggest takeaway for Virginia Tech is ugly win, but a necessary one. And it's surprising that they were able to finish it just because, they shot it worse. They were on the road. They had more turnovers, shot worse from the free throw line, 3-point line, field goal percentage, everything.
Yeah, so I'm looking at the net rankings right now. Miami currently sits, I don't know why I can't scroll down. Miami sits at 61st. Tech is at 40th right now. So, I mean, you've got that 20-spot buffer. Look, you really should have beat him last time, or at least you should have taken him in overtime. A fluke half-court shot loses you that game. So that's a tough one to swallow. But, they're ready to get back out there on Saturday after that win in Atlanta. So they're staying down south, so it shouldn't be like a massive travel or anything. It should be jet lag. So I really think that they should be able to come out on Saturday and put up the performance we know that they can bring. And I really hope the environment in that locker room right now is desperation. Like, I really hope that that's what their mindset is right now for that game. All right, we're going to take a quick break. On the other side of that break, I think we're going to go. Let's talk a little bit about some. Let's have a little fun. Let's talk a little bit about our favorite jerseys in sports. All right, you're listening to 3304 Daily.
It's opening day from Blacksburg, Virginia, here at English Field, as the Virginia Tech Hokies take on the UNC Asheville Bulldogs. Here's the first pitch from Douglas. DeMartini gets a hold of this one to center field. Chandler chasing it, and it's gone! DeMartini on the first pitch he sees in his college career parks it and break out the sledgehammer here at English Field. 1-0 count. Malinowski gets a hold of this one out to left field. It's going to find a gap, and it's gone. Eduardo Malinowski over the left field wall. And once again, break out the sledgehammer here at English Field. Only tallied 3 strikeouts and has given up 2 home runs as Cade Hunter gets a hold of this one to right field, and it's gone. Make that 3 home runs. As Cade Hunter will round the bases. And it's hammer time in Blacksburg. The Little will come set. Here's the pitch. Schobel gets a hold of this one to left field. And it's gone. Tanner Schobel with his first home run of the 2022 season. And the Hokies add another one.
And that is another one driven down to deep center, and that is gone. The first pitch he sees, and he has another home run on the day. And once again, for about the 4th time, rather the 5th, excuse me, it is hammer time in Blacksburg. Virginia Tech up 10. Hunter will deliver one to left field. Fielder going back, and it is off the wall. 1 run scores. And it looks like a second one will score. Hardigan coming across the plate. A 2 RBI double for Cade Hunter. The good gets better. Now, as a 1-2 count over Bristow, he'll deliver. Bristow will shoot it right to second base, and that will be the final out of today's game. The Hokies close it out. A 17-3 victory over the UNC Asheville Bulldogs.
We welcome you inside Castle Coliseum, where today the Virginia Tech Hokies and the North Carolina Tar Heels would do battle in a crucial matchup between 2 teams that sit on the bubble. Murphy on the inbound gives up to Justin Mutt to the top of the rimmer, tries to look on down, finds Aluma, goes up but denied by Baycott. Carolina has numbers coming the other way. A deep 3 from R.J. Davis, and that will silence the air ball chance as it falls through the basket. And North Carolina is feeling it. Drives inside, gets his defender to fall. Layup cannot go as Puff Johnson played great defense. Now bounce pass to Couture inside of Justin Mutt. Right-handed layup is good. A nice defensive pickpocket from the Hokies turns into 2 points, and Virginia Tech up 24-21. He's on that far side. He's trying to back down Darius Maddox. Can't find anything. Caleb Love for a deep triple. Oh my! What a 3 from Caleb Love. A 7-point lead for North Carolina, their biggest of the game. Caleb Love drives inside. A wide open R.J. Davis. Oh my! North Carolina cannot miss. 7 of 12 from behind the arc.
Storm drive to the inside, looking for somewhere to kick it out. Cave straightaway 3, and he knocks it down. Cave Aluma from the top of the key, nothing but net. Caleb Love, top of the key, gives it off Manic, right wing. Manic back to Caleb Love on that T of the VT logo. Caleb Love, deep 3, step back, and he knocks it down. Caleb Love puts the 3-point fingers up to his eyeballs, looking through the goggles of a possible North Carolina pull-away lead. Naheem Aline off the feed from Murphy, knifes his way to the inside, and 1 bucket, Naheem Aline, and that's what the Hokies needed. Right wing, Justin Much, dish inside, Aluma trying to back down Baycott, lays it up and in with the left hand. Keve Aluma extends that left hand up into the Blacksburg air. Wants to drive to the inside, backing down Brady Manic, lays it up and in with the left hand. Count it, and the foul. Justin Mutz will go to the line for a chance at a 3-point play. R.J. Davis goes at Murphy, dish to Manic, who slams it down, and silences the crowd in Blacksburg.
All right, welcome back in 3304 Daily. Okay, Will. So this topic that I was thinking of, it actually got leaked out a couple days ago, before yesterday, before the official report was made. But someone found a screen grab for the NBA's plans for classic uniforms for the 2022-23 season. And one of those happened to be my Detroit Pistons. And that jersey happens to be the early 2000s, late 90s era, Grant Hill, the teal jerseys with the horse on fire. I've got a Grant Hill jersey up actually in my closet right now. And to me, that is one of my favorite jerseys, ever. I think it is a great look. I think it is wholly underused. But the thing is, too, I know that there is great divide within the Pistons fan base about that jersey. A lot of people don't like it. A lot of people just like to stick with the blue and red, which I think is boring, personally. I love it. I love that they're bringing it back. And actually, a chart was actually just tweeted out, I don't know, within the last week, documenting each state's favorite player jerseys to buy in the NBA now today. And, you see a lot of Steph Curry, see a lot of LeBron, obviously, some Kevin Durant. For some reason, Alabama loves Mike Bibby, and Montana loves Yao Ming. But I digress. Michigan, their highest selling jersey is still Grant Hill. So that tells me that Pistons fans love them some teal jerseys, or at least love them some Horsehead logo. So, and I'm 100% in that boat. So I wanted to not just talk about the Pistons, because I don't think you can relate too much to liking this jersey or not. But I want to expand it into just, what are some of your favorite jerseys, period? What are some of your team's favorite jerseys? Some, like an alternate that you like that they break out. Maybe some of your not so favorite jerseys. And just across sports, what are some of the jerseys that you look at and you immediately like you just know that it's a good look, and if a player you really liked went to that team, you'd want to cop a jersey. So I want to get your thoughts on this.
Yeah, I think start off with the Pistons teal jerseys. I love them. I think they're great just because, yeah, I agree. Sometimes you just got to mix it up, and I think the color works really well. Also, the fact that Michigan's still highest selling jersey is Grant Hill. Hopefully, it's going to be Cade Cunningham pretty soon. I would hope.
No, it should be. I can't wait, man. I'm telling you, I can't wait to get myself a teal Cade Cunningham jersey. I've got a normal one right now, but man, that's going to be replaced real soon.
Yeah, I can't wait to watch him play a game in it. For next season. But yeah, this is actually the first time I'm actually hearing about divide amongst the Pistons fan base for that jersey, which is interesting because I don't know, I think it's really dope. But yeah, for all-time jerseys, to keep it in the NBA, I really love the Toronto Raptors, the one with the dinosaur wearing the jersey, the red dinosaur wearing the jersey is purple with the stripes. That's always been one of my favorites. Seeing like Vince Carter wearing that. And obviously like Tracy McGrady back at that time. I've always liked, the Lakers throwback to with like when Jerry West and Elgin Baylor, major throwback, but like the light blue color, the kind of like baby blue color, that's always been one that I've really liked. Let's see what else. Utah Jazz, like the Jazz in the Karl Malone and John Stockton days. Their purple jerseys. I guess I really like noticing a theme here. I really like purple, like alternate purple jerseys for teams that don't typically wear them. So like not the Lakers or like the Sacramento Kings, but like for the Utah Jazz, I think the Jazz actually have very underrated jerseys, like historically, and I would even say now I kind of like their throwbacks and their alternates. But that's one I really liked. Obviously this team doesn't. I always really liked the Supersonics jersey. That was always one of my favorites. 2000s when AI played for the Sixers, obviously in the early 2000s. That jersey I always thought was good, the black. That one actually is interesting because there's quite a lot of people who don't really like them. And then of course I would say the best jersey that I personally own is the Miami Vice, which is probably the most recent one that I've talked about here. Which I don't see the Miami's, they always have very interesting jerseys and variations of like that Miami Vice. But I have a Dwayne Wade, like it's a black with like the blue and the purple, or not the purple, the pink lettering. I have a Dwayne Wade jersey in that. And that's awesome. I've always really liked, or since they came out with it. I believe it was in 2018. I think they started doing that, or maybe it's the year before 2017. But either way, they've been doing variations seemingly every single year. But yeah, I mean, I really like bright and bold. I would say like colors that like just like are alternate. And I mean, there's definitely I'd say current jerseys that I'm not really a fan of. This Boston Celtics are a team that they really don't mix things up with their jerseys at all. It's always like the same. And I get it, it's like the classic green. That's what the Boston Celtics are. That's what they've been for over 50 years, well over 50 years. But I don't know. I kind of think they just played safe with their jerseys now. But yeah, I mean, I'd say purple alternates seem to be a theme here with the jerseys I've listed out. A lot of those early 2000s, late 90s jerseys, I'm a big fan of.
Yeah, no, I like that you kept it in the NBA there a little bit. The NBA is really good with their alternates. A lot of teams have decent to good, baseline jerseys, but like the Miami Vice jerseys to me might be the best in the league.
Yeah,
And I like that you mentioned the Jazz. The Nuggets have a plethora of really good options. Personally, I like when they go more with the throwbacks and they incorporate more of the rainbow that they do a lot of, rather than when they just go with their typical like navy and gold. I like when they go a little bit bolder with the color choices, like you were saying. I mean, I think that's what it is. I think we see so much of it's a lot of primary colors. It's a lot of red, white, blue. Not red, white, yeah, red, white, blue, yellow. Throw some black in there for a lot of teams. When you go to those secondary colors, and the more out there options, and you gradient them, you just layer them on weird, you texture them well, you throw in a nice alternate logo. I like when teams are creative, but obviously you have to make it work. You can't just make it ugly. Like, honestly, right now, I don't know how this is a logo. I don't know how the Arizona or Phoenix or whatever, the Coyotes in the NHL, that logo that they have is terrible, but it's retro, so they stick with it even though it's ugly. And I don't get why they do it, but I know that there's some fans of that one. I'm not a fan myself. If we want to switch to the NFL, I think the obvious winner here is the Chargers. That powder blue
yes.
or that
I was gonna
electric
agree
blue,
with that,
pair
100%.
that up with the yellow. It just works. It works so well, and it's really basic. But their logo, the bolt, it works really well with the helmet. But also, I mean, I'm just looking at a picture right now on the shoulder. It just fits really nice with that curve of the shoulder. And a lot of logos, they don't fit well to the form. They don't fit well to the uniform, and they can kind of just stick out a little bit. So the way they have it is really nice. I'm looking at this is a ranking, and I think this is a little low. I think the Rams at 5 is a little low. Originally, I don't think I liked them as much, but seeing them in action, they've gotten better. I'm not a fan of the LA logo with the LA and then the Rams horn. I actually prefer the actual Ram head. I prefer that, but their jerseys are really nice. I really like them. The NFL as a whole, though, there's not too much creativity. It's a lot of, one color jersey, and then a lot of the work is being done, I'm seeing, by the font of the number. Whether you got the block numbers, or I'm looking at the Ravens right now. They've got a nice, like, textured number, but the jersey on itself, it's just white with, like a black number on it. But it just looks cool because the number's got this nice effect going on. But, I mean, even still, if the Ravens went with something, I think they have purple jerseys. Like, I think they have purple, shirts. I would really like that. I'm looking at the Bills here at 10. I like the Bills. And I really like when they bust out more red. I really like when teams go all in on secondary colors. I'm a big fan of that. And then I think there's something to be said, too, for the jerseys that just start classic. They keep it clean. Some examples, I mean, for me, teams like the Tigers and the Red Wings in baseball and hockey, they have iconic logos, and they just do a lot of the work. Like the Tigers home whites with just the old English D, and it's nothing else. It's very clean. It's very simple. And then the Red Wings, it's just red, and you put the winged wheel on the front. That's actually a lot of hockey jerseys that I'm seeing. It's just one color with the logo on the front, and they make it work. They don't really leave too much room to get fancy. So, yeah, I think something can be said for the classics that, you don't have to do a lot of work to them. You just have a good logo, and that speaks for itself. But obviously, when you think of, the jerseys in sports, I mean, I think you think of stuff like, obviously the Yankees. Honestly, when you think about big market sports, I don't think of the Knicks as this team that have these great jerseys. What about you?
The Knicks, Yeah, no, I mean, the color scheme of like blue and orange is always just really strong. I think it's just maybe the implementation and the creativity. I don't know if they necessarily utilize it the best. But yeah, I mean, for like the bigger name teams like the Lakers, I think the Lakers, their jerseys of like the non-alternate, so just like the normal standard jerseys in sports and specifically in the NBA, Lakers are definitely like I would say one of my favorites. Um, and then going back to the NFL, a team does really come out with some great jerseys. It's a team that lost the Super Bowl, Cincinnati Bengals. I think their jerseys and like the stripes on like the pants and the helmet, I think that's worked absolutely. Like the Bengals have come in and I mean they have a lot of swagger just from like the players on the team, but I mean they look really good doing it. Like when Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase are connecting on those deep bomb touchdowns, it's nice to see them in those just great looking uniforms. I think every like version of like the white really works really well with the black jerseys and the orange. Like all three of them are just great in my opinion. And then I don't know, like I would say the Detroit Lions are a bit underrated. I think it might just because I prefer that kind of shade of blue, and I also kind of like that shade of gray. Maybe together it doesn't work, but I don't know. I guess I'm just a little biased, but I don't know. I think it's just underrated because no one really talks about it. Again, going back to purple, the Vikings. I've always really liked the Vikings jerseys. You know what's an interesting the Dallas Cowboys, and I've actually never really understood why. Why do the Cowboys wear white? Like, why do they wear that classic white jersey for home and road games? Like, that's the only, and they only have like one alternate that I've seen historically, and it's like that blue jersey that they'll occasionally wear, and they always wear it usually on the road. Do you know why that is? Because I don't.
When you say the white jersey, do you mean just like their standard white, or like the white with the blue patch, like with the navy on the shoulders?
Yeah, I mean, just well, wait, Dan, you're a Cowboys fan, right?
I am, yeah. No, I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
I'm looking at
Yeah,
I'm looking
yeah.
at all the options that they've got currently on the table. Yeah, they have a white, which is just their standard white jersey, but then they've got their color rush, which is the white pants and the white jersey with the navy shoulders. Honestly,
Yeah, I guess I'm thinking why do they wear a white jersey? Like why don't they change? They hardly ever change like the base color of the jersey. Like it's always
no, I
like
get that.
white, like,
And no, they do. They go with their navy jerseys occasionally. It's gotten like those navy jerseys. They wear them a lot now that like ever since Dak Prescott. I can't remember a lot of games where Tony Romo was wearing that, but no, with Dak and this whole team, they've been wearing the navies a lot as their alternate to white. This is gonna sound crazy, but there is a faction of the Dallas Cowboys fandom, and I will 100% say that I'm a part of it. So the pants they wear, right? You watch them on game day, you think they're silver, but they're not. They're actually seafoam green. So seafoam green is actually a color associated with the Dallas Cowboys, and people have mocked up alternate jerseys where they are wearing jerseys of seafoam green, and the pants are seafoam green, and basically they're wearing green like all over the place. And I think it looks amazing because I'm kind of with you. When I think about Dallas, there's one jersey that I like, but it's more about the helmets that I'm glad that they're getting rid of the helmet rule. It's this white helmet, it's classic, and it's got just a blue star. A little more throwbacky. Tony Romo wore it a lot. That's what I remember it most of. I think the jersey was mostly navy with the white shoulders. But outside of that, no, I really like the idea of seafoam. But no, I will agree with you there. I think that Dallas could shake it up a little bit more with their jerseys because honestly, when you think about them, they're a little basic. But they still have, I mean, the star is still an iconic logo. I have to recognize that. All right, we're going to take a quick break. On the other side of it, I think we may have lost Will, but we're going to try to, we're going to talk a little bit about women's basketball because they've got a game coming up tonight, and then they've got a big game coming up on Sunday. So stick with us. You're listening to 3304 Daily.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into Thompson Field. We've got some women's lacrosse for you today as Virginia Tech is set to host the Liberty Flames. We've got a breakaway going now, and it will be a score. Virginia Tech gets on the board first. Just trying to get it around, and they'll sling a shot in, and it will be another score. Or rather, the first score for Mia Toscano and the Flames. 1-1. What a beautiful move. Back and forth she goes for the score. Gonna have to
tighten that up for the Hokies. Oh, Berman gives it away.
Berman sends one that's intercepted by Bryan. She'll run up. She's got Berger with her, and she'll sling it right into the open net. It's 2 goals for Brooke Bryan today, and she has been the one on fire for the Flames. Lubnow can shoot. She can pass. Unpredictable player here. And she'll send it right in. Runs up right to the crease. Puts a good move on Serrero. And that'll be Virginia Tech's 4th goal of the day. Lubnow's first. And make that 10 points on the season for Lubnow. She continues to lead this team.
Behind the goal for Liberty. Tries to find her way in the middle. Gets a shot. Scores! Liberty Flames, number 6, that's Berga. Liberty now only trailing 12-9. Olivia Glaze winding up a shot, ready to go off this whistle. Olivia Glaze charges at the net, shoots, scores! Right past Berman, diving attempt, but just couldn't get it. Liberty Flames are back in this thing, 13-11, 11:47 left to play off the penalty. Colavito finds herself at the point again. Finds herself in the middle. Berga ties this game up. We got a 14-14 score here at Thompson Field with only 3:48 remaining. Whips it around. Continues to try to find a shot. Liberty might just find it. Goal! Liberty has upset the Hokies here at Thompson Field. That is a goal from Lehman for the Liberty Flames. They're going to claim this game 15-14. Heartbreaker for the number 20 Hokies.
It's opening day from Blacksburg, Virginia, here at English Field, as the Virginia Tech Hokies take on the UNC Asheville Bulldogs. Here's the first pitch from Douglas. DeMartini gets a hold of this one to center field. Chandler chasing it, and it's gone! DeMartini on the first pitch he sees in his college career parks it and break out the sledgehammer here at English Field. 1-0 count. Malinowski gets a hold of this one out to left field. It's going to find a gap, and it's gone. Eduardo Malinowski over the left field wall. And once again, break out the sledgehammer here at English Field. Only tallied 3 strikeouts and has given up 2 home runs as Cade Hunter gets a hold of this one to right field, and it's gone. Make that 3 home runs. As Cade Hunter will round the bases. And it's hammer time in Blacksburg. So Little will come set. Here's the pitch. Schobel gets a hold of this one to left field. And it's gone. Tanner Schobel with his first home run of the 2022 season. And the Hokies add another one.
And that is another one driven down to deep center, and that is gone. The first pitch he sees, and he has another home run on the day. And once again, for about the 5th, excuse me. It is hammer time in Blacksburg. Virginia Tech up 10. Hunter will deliver one to left field. Fielder going back, and it is off the wall. 1 run scores. And it looks like a second one will score. Hardigan coming across the plate. A 2 RBI double for Cade Hunter. The good gets better. Now, as a 1-2 count over Bristow, he'll deliver. Bristow will shoot it right to second base, and that will be the final out of today's game. The Hokies close it out. A 17-3 victory over the UNC Asheville Bulldogs.
All right, welcome back, 3304 Daily. Okay, Will, we got you back there. Internet cut out a little bit, but we have you back. All right, big game for the women's team tonight. They are hosting Miami at 6. Coverage on ACC and X. Will Lachlan will be covering the game. Are you going to be writing for us, or are you going to be broadcasting for us?
Yeah, I'll be writing. So I'll be watching the game, covering it with a Twitter thread, and then I'll be in the post-game presser, get some quotes, and write a nice article on. We'll see what the result is.
All right, so let's make this today then, because obviously they have a big game coming up on Sunday. We might talk about it a little bit tomorrow, but this could be our last chance to, talk about the end of their season, which has been a really good season. Obviously, we'll recap how they did on Sunday on Monday, and then talk about the next steps for the team. But this team they've played great, and they fell to Louisville. That's a tall order, but they bounced back. They get a win. Now they are playing host to Miami, who I don't know how they've done in the ACC this year, but I mean, this Tech team is better than them. I mean, they're probably a top 15 team in the country, at least in net. If not, you can do the eye test. But I'm mistaken. Will be their first game since that Louisville loss, which was tough. But I mean, what are you expecting to see tonight from this team?
Honestly, yeah, I'm expecting them to win. They've only lost one game in Castle Coliseum all season, and they've had some good teams coming here. There was a stretch, obviously, just a couple weeks ago where they beat Georgia Tech, who is nearly a top 10 team in the country, in Castle, and they upset them, and then they were able to beat UNC, another ranked team. It slips my mind what seed they or what number they were ranked, but UNC was a ranked team at that point. So they've gotten some big time wins at home. 11-1. The only loss they had was to Tennessee in non-conference play earlier in December, and they're 7-0 at home in the ACC. So they haven't lost a home game to an ACC opponent. 5-4 on the road. So it's been tougher there. So that certainly bodes well. I mean, obviously, you're coming off of a loss to Louisville, and to be quite frank, like Louisville's, I mean, they're a top 5 team for a reason. Like Virginia Tech's having a really good season, and certainly I think they can put together a stretch. And are they capable of upsetting a Louisville or an NC State? Yes, certainly capable, but they haven't been able to put it together. And if there was a chance, it would be on Sunday. But for this game against Miami, I mean, Miami's coming in. They're doing pretty well in the ACC. Not as well as Tech, but they're still there. For Virginia Tech, though, I mean, they're 6-2 in their last 8 games. So they've had a lot of success coming in with the 7th ranked offense in the ACC, which is a little bit low, but I don't know. They have the 4th ranked defense, which is very good. And the 4th ranked margin of victory at 14.6 on average for their wins. And so I'm expecting Virginia Tech to do well. I think Aisha Shepard is going to be her last couple games at home. Well, in the regular season, because I think Virginia Tech, if they're on track, even if they lose, with a good top tournament performance, even if they lose to NC State, I still think they're probably on track to host at least a game or two in the NCAA Women's Tournament for March Madness. So probably not going to be her last couple games of her career in Castle, but I mean, it is certainly, she just became, even in the loss to Louisville, Aisha Shepard, she became the all-time leading point scorer in Virginia Tech women's basketball history. And she's going to have really a few more games at Castle, which is great to see because she's had such a special career here. So I'm really expecting her to show out in these last couple games. And of course, Kitley, she's going to be Elizabeth Kitley. I mean, to be honest, looking at Miami's roster, just the size that they have, they really don't have too many able bodies to put on, Kitley 6'6", and being the force that she is down low. I think that'll be a favorable matchup for Tech. So assuming they shoot it well from 3, which they normally do, and assuming they can, put together stops on defense, move the ball, and shoot well from 3, I think they're in for a solid win tonight. But it's certainly no gimme because Miami is a good team. They're no slouch at all. So they have to come out with their A performance, and that should be enough to get the win.
What do you think this team is missing from their resume? Because while you're talking, I'm doing a little bit of research because I just want to know. Okay, what do we think? What do we think the feel of this team is in the national mindset? So I go to Charlie Cream of ESPN. He does women's bracketology, and he currently has them on the 6th line. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, that's weird. They lose a game to Louisville, who is going to be a 1 seed. I don't think that's any doubt. Tough game, tough environment. They were on the 5 line, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, maybe they're closer to the 4. But then I go on his Twitter, and I see that he responded to a Virginia Tech fan who asked, hey, this team is an 11th ranked team in net, but they dropped down a seed. They, crushed Syracuse. They beat UNC. They beat Georgia Tech. Really tall task to go into Louisville and win that game. And he says that they moved down to the 6th seed for procedural reasons. If he had them at a 5, they'd be playing another ACC team. So I'm thinking to myself now, okay, they're closer to a 6 seed than a 4 seed. That doesn't make sense to me. And then I'm just going to a bunch of other sources. I'm seeing them as high as a 5. I'm seeing them as low as a 7. What do you think the feel for this team is, and where do you think they deserve to be seated, come NCAA time?
I think they deserve to be on the 4 or 5 line, I would say. I think 6 is definitely too low. Because I mean, look, the one thing I think they're missing, like Virginia Tech, they've had the non-conference success for the most part. Yeah, they dropped one in Tennessee, but I mean, Tennessee they're a historic program, very good team. and that was really the only non-conference loss they had. Or no, they dropped another one that I forget who they. I forget the team that they lost to. But so they lost a couple.
They dropped one to Missouri State, I think, in a preseason tournament thing.
Right, exactly. But I mean, I believe they went on the road, beat Wisconsin, so they have road wins. They're 9-6 on the road this year, so I mean, they are kind of like a home dominant team, I guess you could say. Both the marquee wins, but even then, like, it was weird because I honestly thought even before the Georgia Tech game and the UNC game, I thought Virginia, this team was good enough to be a top 25 level team, and that kind of just validated the fact that they're clearly in the top 25, and then they only went up to 23. Which I believe they're still at 23 after, a loss to Louisville, but obviously a blow win against Syracuse in the game before that. So I think the only thing that they're missing is like that. I mean, they've had 2 big tests on the road against, top 5 opponents, and they have lost both. But is that enough to like say, oh, then this is valid? This is reason as to why they're not, a 4 or 5 seed? I don't really think it is, because those are, like you said, like Louisville and NC State could easily both be 1 seeds, and even if they're not, one of them will probably be a 1 seed, and the other one will definitely be a 2 seed. And they lost to NC State in earlier in the season on the road and Louisville. So it does seem like Virginia Tech, they keep having to kind of prove themselves a little bit more. The team just keeps having to prove themselves a bit more than maybe they should have to when you look at certain bracketology and certain polls. But they were able to overcome that and, prove that they belonged by beating Georgia Tech and UNC. And I think they could be on track to do a very similar thing. But you do hope that you don't get necessarily, it'll be senior night on Sunday night for that game against NC State. And that's the biggest home game of the season. Because Castle really came out for the Georgia Tech game and the UNC game. So I can only imagine that it'll be pretty packed, I would say, hopefully for the NC State game. But I mean, that's everything's kind of building that, and you hope that they don't lose track of this game tonight against Miami and maybe look forward a little bit too much to the game on Sunday. So again, that game by game mentality that I kind of talked about with the men's team, certainly have to keep that here, because I guess you could say it's a trap game, but they're too good to, I would say, to label it as a trap game because they're one of the better teams in the ACC.
Yeah, so I just want to. I have the net rankings pulled up for Tech. I mean, again, they're 11th. It's insane how good they are. And then also, I mean, they have wins over good teams. They have a win over North Carolina, who is currently sitting at 5th. Despite the fact that they have gone in and out of the rankings. With their 5 losses, they've beaten them. Tech has beaten a team that the net rankings view as better than them. I believe they fell to Notre Dame. Have they played Notre Dame twice this season? Because I remember that they went on the road. They lost that game. Kitley was dealing with an injury, but have they played Notre Dame again this season?
I'm pretty sure that's the only time they played them was that road game. So the only time they could play them again would be the ACC tournament.
Okay, so I'm seeing Miami is currently 60th, so it's a home game, so that I think falls in the quadrant 2 category. So I mean, this could be a nice win to pick up, and like you're saying, Miami's a team. I mean, that screams bubble team to me. 60th in the net rankings. Seeing where they are, yeah. Miami's a team on the bubble. So this is a team that is going into this game feeling a little bit of desperation. It's very similar to the men's basketball team for Virginia Tech, How are we going to stay on this bubble? We're going to be fighting for our lives going into a hostile road environment. How are they going to feel about that? So I think they come up with a win tonight. They show, again, that they can, beat good competition. They show, hey, we're good enough to be a top 4 seed in the NCAAs. What do you think about Sunday? What do you view about Sunday's matchup? If you want to do a little bit of a preview ahead here, obviously it's a tall task, but they fought with NC State when they played them earlier this season. It's just whether it's the fact they were on the road, whatever you want to call it. They shot poorly that day. They can hang with that team. It's not like Louisville or NC State are untouchable. They've lost. Do you think Tech has what it takes to, go again for round 2 and come out with a W?
I think they do, because I think it's, like you said, they have not lost at home. This team is just, they're so good. I honestly think you could make an argument. They're one of the, at home, and I know you can say this definitely about a lot of teams that have really good home court advantages, but when they play in Castle here in Blacksburg, they are one of the best. I think that you could argue they're one of the best teams in the country. Again, just when they're at home, because on the road they've certainly had suffered their losses and have played worse, as most teams do. But like at home, there's definitely just something different about the way that they play. Like you said, NC State, they're not invincible. Like they have a few losses this season. So I mean, yeah, I think at home you've gotten the best version a lot of times of Elizabeth Kitley. You've gotten the best for Georgia Moore has been a player who she really can just have some incredible games at home specifically, and she was really the kind of the swing, the X factor, I guess you could say. And I think she kind of is the X factor overall for this team, especially with her play when she's at home, because I think she really, if you look at her shooting splits, it's much better at home versus on the road. And she was critical in those wins against Georgia Tech and UNC, those back-to-back home ranked wins. So I think she's kind of the X factor, playing through Kitley inside. And then, it'll be Aisha Shepard's last home, home regular season game of her career as a Virginia Tech Hokie basketball player. So I'm expecting her to really have a really good performance. And then to me, I'd say the X factor, really going down the stretch here, but specifically for that NC State game, Georgia Moore, and then Azana Baines as well, because I think she's done a lot of dirty work and she's kind of expanded her role. She wasn't necessarily like a full-time starter at the beginning of the year, but now she really kind of is. And I mean, she's had 8 games of 7 rebounds or more in the second half of the season, which was only compared to just 4 of those performances in the first half. So she does a lot of the dirty work on defense, grabbing rebounds, making some really quality passes and looks for Kitley inside in the post. And so I think Baines and Amore are the X factors. Baines for her kind of, just doing all the little things. And then Georgia Moore just because she can get really hot from 3. And she's Georgia Moore, she's the team leader in assists, steals, and 3-point percentage. So, I mean, she's certainly a critical player for the team. Those would be the 2 X factors, not only for the NC State game, but also for tonight's game as well.
Yeah, so we'll definitely keep an eye on that. And, I mean, I expect Sunday to be rocking. I expect Sunday to be very fun. I actually just checked my work schedule to make sure I'm not scheduled. I'm scheduled to work the baseball game right before it, but that should end well before 6 o'clock. So I will definitely be able to make my way over there. That excites me.
Yeah, or just quick note here. I'll actually, I'm pretty sure I'm broadcasting the game with 3304.
I think you should figure that out personally.
Yeah. No, yeah. I actually had some confusion. I thought I was broadcasting today's game against Miami. And then I checked the schedule and was like, wait, no, it's the 27th. Oh, I'm dumb. So it's Sunday's game. So yeah, I'm really excited and stoked for that on Sunday. It's going to be great.
There you go. All right, so Will Lachlan will be calling the game on Sunday as well as live tweeting the game tonight. So you can follow him. What's your Twitter handle, Will?
Oh, it's Lachlan_Will is my Twitter handle.
All right, there you go. So follow him along at his Twitter, and he will be live tweeting the game. All right, last 5 or so minutes. Let's get into what you're watching. All right, last night, kind of a bit of a failure on our part. I went with a little bit of a strategic pick. I went with hockey because, I figured the other guys would be going the college basketball route. They did not do that. Taking a look at what we went through. I mean, if you're a fan of hockey, you're a fan of overs. The Edmonton-Tampa Bay game that was on primetime TNT last night, 5-3 was the final score. So, I mean, the over-under was 6.5, which is a very high number in hockey. So if you bet the over there, you're very happy about that one. Ryan gave you TCU at Texas, which I believe, I want to say TCU won that game. So they're still fighting. They're a team that's on the bubble. We focused on them a little bit. Colburn gave you some Champions League action. If you don't have Paramount Plus, you were out of luck there. And look, man, I thought that the rest of the game was going to go with either Duke UVA or Providence and Xavier, who went into triple overtime. So we're going to try to do better today. Will, the NBA is back from its break, so I think I'm going to give you, the NBA slate. Since it's just you and me today, I think we can go a little bit more. I think we can both do about 2. I think that if we spread it out a little bit, break down the games, we can talk about, more sports to watch tonight. So let me start off in the realm of men's basketball. And I'm looking at 2 games at 9 o'clock. It's a very late slate tonight. Nothing happening before 9 o'clock, at least in the ranked matchups. So I'm looking at Gonzaga at San Francisco. San Francisco's had a really good season. They're a team that's kind of on the bubble, but I think they deserve to be in. And I mean, the only reason I'm giving you a Gonzaga game on ESPN2, watch Chet Holmgren. This guy is a stud. And if you're a fan of an NBA team like mine, like the Pistons, who is just praying to the lottery gods, Chet Holmgren might be the guy to save your franchise. And I'm going to double up at 9 o'clock. I'm going to give you the only ranked matchup. Both teams are ranked of the night on FS1. A little bit of Big Ten. Ohio State, who Ryan gave you earlier this week, and Illinois, another big man matchup there in Big Ten country. Illinois favored by 6 on FS1. I'm also looking at this game at 9 o'clock. You got Belmont, Murray State, 2 Ohio Valley powers, really. So that could be a fun one, too, if you want to throw a third game in there in the mix. So a little bit of all over the country for me when it comes to men's basketball tonight. I think that's going to be one I'm going to be watching tonight in primetime. What about you, Will? I'm expecting you to go a little bit in the NBA route. It's our first day back. We've got some primetime stuff going on. What do you got for us?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, NBA games I'm going to be monitoring. The only games I'm really going to be able to watch, just because of the women's game at 6, are probably going to be like the 10 o'clock games, which honestly aren't really that good, which is unfortunate. Like the Warriors and Blazers. I mean, I enjoy watching the Golden State Warriors play basketball, even if it's against a bad team, which the Blazers are. So I mean, I guess, and it's on TNT, so it'll be a live TV game. I assume they, had the intention of, early in the season before the year, it was going to be like Steph or Dame, but obviously that's thrown out the window. And then the other 10 o'clock games, the Nuggets versus the Kings. And I mean, you got Jokic and versus Sabonis, which is kind of a fun big man matchup. Jokic is obviously a superstar, and Sabonis is, I would say, like an all-star caliber player. 2 different caliber of players, but they're both kind of fun in that Sabonis is just like, they both are just really good. Obviously, Jokic, the best passing big man of all time, in my opinion. And then, Sabonis is obviously, I think he's one of the better passing big men in the NBA as well. So that'll be kind of a cool matchup to watch. Other games that to monitor, though, I mean, you got Cavs Pistons. Mobley's not on the injury. Darius Garland, I believe, is not going to be playing. But I mean, Mobley versus Cade, the 2 best rookies, I'd say, in the NBA right now. So that'll be a fun matchup. The Celtics are playing the Nets, and if you remember last game, I believe last time they played, it was the game where the Nets had like 2 points with like 5 minutes into the game or something like that. It was crazy, and I'm pretty sure that game was in the Barclays Center. So they're going to be playing again, and the Nets don't have anyone playing per usual. So the Celtics should win that one pretty easily. And the final NBA game that I would say is worth taking a look at is Timberwolves and Grizzlies. I think, the Timberwolves have been a really fun team this year, and I just think that's a matchup with a lot of fun talent to watch. And Karl Anthony Towns is coming off, winning the 3-point contest, obviously setting a record in the 3-point contest for 29 points in the final round. Then you obviously have John Morant, who's just like must-see TV, and Anthony Edwards, D'Angelo Russell. So that's just a lot of fun players to watch in that matchup. So some solid games, but to be honest, man, I'm more of excited for Friday because I believe James Harden will be making his debut for the Sixers. But that's not what I'm watching tonight. That's tomorrow night.
All right, there you go. Well, thank you. All right. We have like a minute left. So we talked a little bit about Zion yesterday. So I just want to get your quick thoughts on this. I made the comp, and you brought up John Morant. So Zion's situation in New Orleans, he doesn't feel exactly happy there. And I said that comparing Zion to guys like Dame Lillard, Giannis, and John Morant, Zion has always been, he's the 5-star guy. We've been looking at him since high school, went to Duke. Those guys went to mid-majors. Giannis was international, picked outside of the lottery, afterthoughts, really. Guys that we thought that were going to be role players. John Morant, we thought was going to be a star, but, 0-star recruit. Do you think that's an accurate assessment of what's going on in New Orleans? Zion just doesn't want to be there because he's never had to experience, that kind of hardship in building a franchise that really isn't that good to start with?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's certainly a weird thing that's going on. I go back to what JJ Redick was saying. That like if JJ Redick, who JJ Redick played at Duke, and so did Zion. So it's like Duke, they're kind of known for like that. They throw that term out like the brotherhood, like the Duke brotherhood, and that's certainly a thing. So Zion played a year last year with JJ Redick in his final season. So it's like, if there's anyone, and JJ Redick's also a very like pro player. Like his podcast, Old Man of the Three, very good basketball podcast. He has a lot of, he's had Chris Paul. Zion was on that podcast, I believe, like a year ago. And so, if there was anyone to like
defend Zion, I would think that would be JJ Redick. And it's, he's not. He's really calling him out, if anything. But at the end of the day, I honestly think that I wouldn't be too surprised if next year we're looking at it's like Zion's playing really well at like an all-star level. And it's, all this is kind of just water under the bridge. But we'll see.
All right, Will, thank you. And thank you for listening. We'll see you tomorrow for our Friday show before we send you off for the weekend. Thank you for listening, everyone. Take care. Have a good day.